Hello everyone, this is Crystal, and this is part 3 of Wiseman Still Seek Him. And I took one sheet of 12 by 12 paper and made 16 cards out of it. This paper happens to be the one that has the words "To Silent Night" on it. I cut my strips at 1.5 inches wide, which gave me 8 strips, and each strip made 2 cards. I cut my black cardstock at 4.25 by 11 and scored at 5.5. I turned the card sideways because I wanted to make it look something like a photo album. And as you can see, I used my Versamark ink and I stamped on the right side of my card, and using gold embossing powder, my card, and then shook off all the excess embossing powder. And then I went and took my heat tool and went and heated it and set it. The rest of the video will show where I had taken a card and I had used white pigment ink and then took clear embossing powder to it, because I originally wanted to do it in white, but as you see, I didn't really care for it and I didn't like it at all, so I ended up going with the gold. But take your strip of paper, and I just cut it to fit, and then I put a piece of foam tape down the center of it. Now you want to make sure you only put one strip and put through the center of it, because later you're going to want to put some type of a mat underneath it, and this way it'll allow you to do it after you have it on the card. For the inside, I took 2 pieces of white cardstock, 4 by 5.25, and I used black Versamark ink, and I stamped using the stamp set "Celebrate the Season." I stamped "Merry Christmas" on one side, and then the verse about the baby on the other piece. And then I took both of them and I rounded the corners, because like I said, I wanted to make it kind of like a photo album. And so I rounded each one of the corners, and then I glued them right down onto the black cardstock using my art glitter glue. And I forgot to tell you, the stamp sets that I used for this project was the Lion and the Lamb and "Celebrate the Season." And on the front of the card, I stamped "Behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world." And then I put a picture of Mary and Joseph from "Celebrate the Season" underneath it. And I'll be taking that 1.5 inch strip that we already put the foam tape on, and we will, well, on this one I put it to the side. On the others I left a little bit of a margin of a gap. And then I took some glitter paper I had cut down, and as you see, you could slide it underneath there and glue it. I was checking to see what I thought, and I didn't really care for it much, so instead I went and I grabbed my old standby, which is my washi tape. So I took a piece of the washi tape, some silver on this one, and I tore it off, and this one happens to have a backing on it. And so I kind of measured to make sure I had enough, and I tore off a piece and peeled it off. And then I slid it, but you want to do it in an angle because you don't want the washi tape to stick, and that way you can readjust it to how you want it. And then I trimmed off the excess on both sides. And then I took my bone folder and went underneath it, and I rubbed it down to make sure that it would stay really good. Now on this one I only put it on one side, but on the other cards that I did with the gold, I had put it on both sides of that strip. Some other versions of the card that I had made when I was trying to figure out what colors and stuff I wanted to use. I did the silver and I did the white, which I didn't care for. I also did copper, which I didn't care for it too much, and the gold. And then if you cut your paper the wrong direction, your Silent Night, let's say you cut it the wrong way, don't worry about it. You can always turn your card the other direction. That way you can save it. And here it is. I showed an example in case you make that error, which I don't know about you folks, but I have made that mistake I don't know how many times when I've made cards in the past. So if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Bye for now. Happy crafting.